Good afternoon. You're watching Businessworld live here on One News. I'm Jes Delos Santos. Let's take a look at how the local bourse closed today, Tuesday. For the index on a 4-day winning streak here as it rose 0.6% to 7,266. This comes just ahead of the government deciding to expand the alert level system to certain provinces beginning tomorrow. This will still form part of the pilot testing, hence the decision not to implement it nationwide just yet. Now, under the scheme, you have key areas in Cebu and Davao, which will be placed under alert level 2. Same goes for Batangas and Quezon. There will be other provinces as well that will be placed under alert level 4 and level 3. Now, some big movements here among local stocks. Let's start off with Converge, finally recovering from that deep slump yesterday, coming out as a day's best performer, up 10.7%. The internet provider recovered after reports of shares under lockup from its IPO expired this month. That sent the stock declining yesterday, but then, like what I said earlier, the stock, at least today, rallying up more than 10%, now at 31 pesos a piece. Another top advancer for today is AC Energy. The stock jumped 10%. That's on the back of reports that it will buy out its partner in UPC AC Renewables Australia, giving way to their first fully owned platform outside the Philippines. The purchase is going to be worth $243.3 million for the remaining 51.6% stake of UPC Renewables Asia Pacific and Anton Roner. Now, part of the deal is for UPC to subscribe up to 942 million AC Energy shares at 11 pesos and 32 centavos a share. Now, this is huge, of course, for AC Energy as the venture has more than 8,000 megawatts of renewable pipeline from solar, wind, hydro, to energy storage technology in Australia. Again, AC Energy just pulling off its biggest gain yet since February this year, up 10% to 11 pesos and 88 centavos a piece. The central bank has recently said that more customer-centric financial products may be possible once an open finance framework has been put in place. Talking about open finance, one firm has already established a footprint in the local market. That's UBX Philippines Corporation, the fintech arm of Union Bank. And we have on the show its president and CEO, John Januszczak. Good afternoon, John.
Good afternoon, Jess.
Okay, just for us all to be on the same page here, give us an idea first, what exactly is open finance?
Sure. It's really simple. At its heart, open finance means that the data that banks and other financial institutions, financial service providers are collecting on their customers or through their customers' use of their services belongs to the customers and not the bank, not the financial institution. And so really, it's that simple, but it's what it allows that I think is really important. This permissioned or consent-driven use of the customer data by the customers, it really drives innovation. It effectively means that the financial services provided by banks or insurance companies or other financial service providers effectively becomes unbundled, and with the customer's consent, other companies, other fintechs, other third parties can innovate and provide, rebundle things together in a way that provides greater innovation and use of that data for customers.
Now, you have been in this business for more than 2 years now with your open finance platform. What exactly are you doing to at least advance open finance in the Philippines?
Yeah, so we've effectively been providing de facto open finance solutions for over 2 years. We have a number of platforms that are predicated on an open system where we allow customers to decide what they want to do with the data that the underlying financial service providers hold. And just to make this very concrete, so for example, we aggregate and virtualize the largest array of payment options in the country through our Bucks platform. So that's bux.ph. And what that allows is it allows from the very smallest merchant to the largest corporate to provide their customers a wide array of payment options, including we've actually aggregated the largest aggregation of over-the-counter payment options as well. So for the merchant, that completely digitizes even cash payments, and for the consumer, it digitizes a cash payment right down to the last mile. And so, like I said, whether you're the smallest sari store owner or a travel agency in Mindanao to the largest corporate based out of Manila, you are on an equal footing, and you're providing all of these payment options for your customers. And it's allowing people to innovate on top of that. So for example, a lot of the e-commerce vendors are using Bucks so that they can manage their cash on delivery. They can manage their cash on delivery options. So while the customer is still paying cash, it allows the fintechs or the e-commerce platforms to digitize that process for themselves, and it allows them to manage their cash by, for example, allowing their drivers or their delivery people to leverage over 50,000 counters across the country. With Eye2Eye, we have actually brought together hundreds of financial institutions. So these are both regulated financial institutions, and we've brought together thousands of non-banking financial institutions into a real-time distributed payments network. And so now someone who is using one of these financial service providers can, for example, do a payment digitally and in real time from anywhere in the Philippines to each other, so between the institutions on this network, but we also connect them to other networks like the National Retail Payment System. So imagine you can be a customer of a rural bank in the most remotest part of the Visayas, and in real time you can make a payment to, for example, one of your suppliers in a Union Bank or a BDO bank account in Manila in real time. So we've created this ability by aggregating all of these financial service providers together and creating interoperability between them. So if putting hundreds of financial institutions together and making them interoperable sounds like open banking or open finance, that's exactly what it is.
Okay, you did mention you partner with more than 100 financial service providers. So just want to know, was there at least any level of apprehension from these providers?
No, actually not at all, because one way of looking at open banking is, now I'm going to open myself up to competition, and my competitors are going to, their customers or my customers are going to be able to work with my competitors to compete against me. But, in this country, that's not the battle. The battle is not, and the fight is not between financial service providers. The battle is really with financial exclusion. We're in a country where upwards of 70% of the population, if they're not unbanked, they are underbanked. So if you are a financial service provider, whether you're a regulated financial institution or a non-banking financial service provider, open banking means three things. One, it's a path to digitization. Like every business in the country, and especially with the pandemic, what we've learned is that it is an absolute necessity that we digitally transform ourselves, that we digitize, and open banking is a path for that. And some of our platforms like Eye2Eye, Bucks, and our lending platform CCAP can be leveraged by financial institutions to accelerate that journey. But it also means expanding your reach. Are, as I've already stated, they're only really reaching about 30% of the population. And so through open banking and through some of the platforms that we've built, you can really expand your reach to reach the entire population of the country. And lastly, for the financial service providers, while you are opening up your data to innovation from others, you can all leverage on that innovation and bring it into your system and bring those in front of your customers. So you're not just a supplier, you're also a channel for financial services.
Okay, like what you mentioned, at least the main challenge for here is to serve the underserved and the unbanked communities here in the Philippines. Now, give us an idea, how does UBX play into the whole Union Bank ecosystem?
Right. So yeah. So we were actually spun off from Union Bank. One thing that we noticed at Union Bank was that uh, digital platforms were acquiring customers at scale, and they were acquiring customers at a rate that exceeded the acquisition of customers, directly to a bank like Union Bank or even other banks. That was number one. Number two, the other thing we observed was that digital platforms more and more were facilitating the activities and experiences that truly matter to individuals and to institutions. There are many, many more people in the Philippines that have access to, for example, to a mobile phone than to a traditional bank. And that was the observation we made. And so we realized that in order to reach these customers, what we first and foremost had to offer were digital solutions, digital platforms for both financially and digitally underserved communities so that we could actually get access to them. And so we realized that we needed a technology company. We didn't actually need a bank. What we needed first and foremost was a technology company to do this. The other thing that we noticed is very aligned with open banking. By creating these digital platforms to reach customers at scale and at a quicker rate than banks have traditionally been doing it, we also needed to be open to all financial service providers because it's a very, very big ocean. One bank cannot possibly provide all of the solutions for all of the needs of the population. And so therefore we needed to create a platform that really drove innovation and allowed people not just to provide their products, but allow others to innovate on top of their products.
Okay, now here's hoping, of course, that more fruits will come out of your efforts over there at UBX. Thank you very much for your time this afternoon. UBX Philippines President and CEO, John Januszczak. Thank you, John.
Thanks, Jes.
Here are other headlines we're keeping our eyes on. 26 Capital Acquisition, a Miami-based company which recently agreed to merge with Okada Manila, is planning to pursue more casino opportunities in Japan, among other countries. Now, 26 Capital Acquisition's chairman and CEO Jason Adder confirmed to Bloomberg that his special purpose acquisition company is eyeing to own assets beyond the Philippines over the next several years. The merger between Okada Manila and 26 Capital Acquisition values the gaming company at $2.6 billion. The firm's common stock will also be listed on the NASDAQ via an American Depository Receipt program. Okada, which is owned by Japan's Universal Entertainment, identifies itself as the only Japanese-owned and operated casino in the world. Adder believes the company is well-positioned as Japan has recently begun awarding casino licenses to boost its tourism industry. Meanwhile, Energy Secretary Alfonso Cusi, businessman Dennis Uy, and some officials of Chevron Philippines are facing graft traps before the ombudsman over alleged anomalies in the sale of Chevron's stake in the Malampaya project. Recall that last year, Udena unit UC Malampaya acquired Chevron Malampaya, a Chevron subsidiary that owned a 45% stake in the Malampaya gas field. The complainants concerned citizens Balgamel Domingo, Rodel Luis, and Loida Nicolas Luis alleged that Cusi and other officials conspired to give unwarranted benefits and advantage to Uy's Udena Corporation for the buyout. They filed the complaint at the ombudsman's office in Iloilo City. The complainants say this transaction caused undue injury to the government, with total losses estimated to have reached at least 21 to 42 billion pesos. Complainants also accuse Cusi of acting with gross inexcusable negligence and for personal gain when he facilitated the transfer of Chevron's stake to Uy's firm, despite supposedly knowing that the transaction has yet to be approved by the Energy Department. The Senate Energy Committee has earlier called the buyout a midnight deal, noting that Udena has no experience in the exploration, extraction, and production of any oil or gas reservoir in the Philippines or outside of the country. The palace clarifies that Secretary Vince Dizon will remain as the country's testing czar following his resignation as president and CEO of the BCDA, or the Basis Conversion and Development Authority. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque confirms that Dizon has tendered his resignation from the BCDA effective last Friday. But Roque notes that Dizon will continue to be a part of the government's efforts in fighting COVID-19 as presidential advisor for COVID-19 response. The BCDA, meanwhile, extends its gratitude to Dizon for leading the corporation for 5 years. BCDA Director Aristotel Batuhan has been appointed its officer in charge and CEO. And those are the biggest stories this trading day, October 19, 2021. Catch Business World live again tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. for the market open and 3:15 p.m. for the market close. I'm Jes Delos Santos, and we are One News. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines.